Tänään suurin piirtein mihin asti?
4 asti.
Okei. Okay.
Lunchi välissä. Joo.
Nyt on niitä aallonpussit, nämä on valkoisia. Mulla on sit kaikkea muuta sekalaista.
Yeah.
Katsoitko Mikko presistä läpi yhtään?
Anteeksi.
Ehdit sä katsoa presistä yhtään läpi?
Ihan siis skimmasin illalla.
Okei, selvä.
Mutta mä katsoin, siellä on hyviä harjoituksia.
Okei. Selvä.
No,
Hyvä.
tosi passeli.
Hyvä. Siis mä meinaan vaan, että nyt tästä on niinku, menee niinku alusta menee 1/3 siihen, kun mä esittelen mun duuneja, koska sä toivoit sitä.
Joo, mutta se on tosi hyvä.
Niin mä
joo.
meinaan vaan sitä, että, että se on semmoinen yksi painotikku tässä. Hei, haluatko muuten jotenkin niinku ajaa mut sisään? Mä voin aloitan ihan suoraan.
Jos sä voit mennä suoraan, siis katsotaan, mä voin niinku aloittaa sitä niinku.
Aloita jotenkin.
Joo.
Aloita sanot jotain moi ja näin. Tuleeko mulle joku mikendeerys? Mä voisin ottaa sen mikin, koska mä menen nyt vessaan, niin sitten voitais kokeilla, että toimiiko se.
Joo.
Kun mä menen vessaan. Otetaanko sitten?
Anteeksi. Joo.
Same time, from the point of view of labor market, they become less desirable designers. That's what chance to never be employed. So, on the other hand, we should educate designers to make choices of who they want to work for. Like when they should begin work with it. Maybe some welfare systems reduce the risk of making those tough decisions. But then it's got back to education. So, we should have
Moi!
Ja. Testi, testi. Toimiiko? Toimiiko? Entäs nyt? Entäs nyt? Testi, testi.
Paljon oppilaat sitten opiskelijoita, kun menet taas sinne saulaan ja puoliin.
Tässä on penkki sitten. Testi, testi. 1, 2, 1, 2.
myös nyt. Noniin, kuuluuko nyt? Kuuluuko nyt mitään? Kuuluuko nyt mitään? Mä voin myös laulaa tänne. Mä oon joskus ajatellut ottaa laulutunteja, että mä voisin oikeasti laulaa. Kuuluuko se mitään? Ei jumakauta, sori. Siis toimiiks tää vielä? Toimiiks tää vielä? Tuleeks täältä mitään? Toimiiko? Jos mä yritin laittaa sitä tuonne.
Tässä on pientä läkiä, mutta tai siis se on niinku 5 sekkaa jäljessä. Ja siis se, että kun se striimataan nyt, niin jos jengillä tulee kysymyksiä köpiksen päästä, niin mä sit hihkasen aina.
Joo, mä itse asiassa fasilitoin sen silleen, että mä pidän ekaksi ton niin esitelmästä, sen jälkeen ihmiset saa keskustella ja esittää kysymyksiä.
Joo.
Niin sitten, ja se koskee myös sitä köpiksen päätä, että ne saa siellä ja sitten jos sä voit vaan sit heittää niitä kysymyksiä, mitä sieltä tulee.
Joo.
Yes. Kuuluuko tää jostain tässä? Kuuluuko? Kuuluuko ihan hyvin vai kuuluuko huonosti? Vai mitenkä kuuluu? Ihan hyvin kuuluu. No niin, hyvä. Yes. Joo, eikö mä just tungen sitä tänne? Mä just tungen sitä tänne. Hello, welcome. No, you have to come in the front seat, of course. The front row. Always we start from the front row. I challenge you. Come here. Yes, hello. Welcome. Come here. Let's start from the front row. Come to the front row. Yes. Hey, come to the. We start from the front row. We fill this up first. You know, you're privileged. You're the first ones here. You get to sit in the front row. How cool is that? Yes. Hi. Hello.
And it's for free.
And it's for free. Yes. I can do some autographs afterwards. So for the first row. So. Siis tässähän on niinku 3 minuuttia aikaa ja täällä on nyt niinku aloituksia. Täällä on vajaa 10 ihmistä.
Joo.
Se on perus.
Joo.
Perus.
Sama eilen.
Oliko? Okay. And I really appreciate you guys being on time. That's like super. I'm super punctual, so I must give you already 10 points for being on time here. But as you can see, there's a lot of empty seats here, so we need to wait for a couple of minutes. Hello, let's start for we have 3 seats in the front row, and we will fill this up first. So please come here. Come, there's 3 seats here. And come to the second row. Let's start to fill this up.
Okay, because in the first.
Good morning. Come here, and let's start with the second row. We fill up the second row next. Second row. We fill up the second row first. Second row. Yes, this is. So don't stay in the back rows. Come to let's fill up all the rows from the front until the back. So. Nice, nice. Perfect. Super. Super, super. I really appreciate you all being on time. I really, really appreciate that. I'm super punctual, but as we can see, there is still some seats open. So let's wait for maybe like, how many minutes you want to wait? 5 minutes? Okay, let's wait for 5 minutes and then we will start. If somebody needs to get some coffee or needs to go to the bathroom or whatever, now you have 5 minutes time to do that. But we will start sharp 9:05. But you can also sit here and relax and tune in with the universe of IDBM challenge. Hello, welcome. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Do you still have seats in there? Is there free seats? There's some. There's some. Are most of the seats taken already? Is there free seats in there? All the seats are taken. Yes, good. What about there? Is there any seats in there? Okay, couple. There are still free seats. Yes. Voiko sä ottaa pari valokuvaa tästä hommasta? Tuosta tänne kuvaajakin vai voiko sä ottaa pari kuvaa?
Mä ottaa siis myöhään sen
Just tuolta kännykällä, just näin, olisi tosi kiva. Nyt sun kynä Noin hieno kultainen kynä vielä. Hey everybody, really nice that I already said this, somebody heard it, but the ones who came a little bit later, I'm really happy to see so many here being so punctual, but let's wait for maybe like a couple of minutes more so that, you know, everybody will get here and we will start. I said 9:05, but no, 10:05 sharp. So like, please be patient, we will start in a couple of minutes, okay? Yes, nice. Ja sulla on niinku kaikki täällä hallinnassa. Kaikki on kunnossa.
Tää ei toimi vielä, mutta toi toimii.
Okei.
Toi audio, mä oon se menee samalla eteenpäin ja
Okei. Yes. Oliko se niin, että tämän jälkeen teillä tulee te paljastatte sen iltapäiväisen challengein?
Joo, se on 3-4.
Yes. Mut kohta mä kutsun sut tohon on stage.
Joo.
We do this in the international speaker style.
Yes.
Let's do this. Okay. Hello, welcome. Is there free seats still there? Yes, good. Okay, I think that we are about to ready to begin. I want to give you a warm welcome, like virtual hug, that everybody's here and you were so punctual. I was waiting for everybody to be here like 10:15 or something like that. So I was positively surprised most of the people were here on time, so I want to give you an applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to take the stage soon, but first I'm going to ask the international speaker, Miikka, come here and say a few words. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Hey, yes, Miikka, yes, yes.
Good morning, day 2. This is the big day. Who said woo? I'm super happy about this day. As you saw in the schedule, this is like the method day. So we have Katrina. I'm super happy that Katrina is here. Thanks for joining us. And then after lunch we have Hannu. So today, like with Katrina, we are focusing on the team side, like internal aspects, and with Hannu, external aspects. And then afterwards, the great reveal. Oh yeah.
Yes, okay.
That's my part. I'm going to be here assisting and whatever you need.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have a personal assistant here, which is great. I have always wanted to have that. As you can see, my email address is like that. So I just love having personal assistants who are male. So, very much welcome on my behalf. I'm an artist and a coach and a mentor, Katriina Haikala, and I'm going to be talking to you about group creativity. And I'm so happy to be here, to be honest. I'm super excited about this because, you know, I actually took this course last autumn. Believe it or not, I did. So, and immediately I went to Miikka and said like, hey, you know, I have some improvement ideas. So, you know, if you have some improvement ideas, open your mouth. You know, you might be teachers next year. But anyway, that's the whole other story of my 40-year-old crisis of me being a student for one course, you know, at the IDBM last autumn. But I'm gonna like talk to you a lot about my work first. And the whole program of this 3-hour session that we're going to have is that we're going to, of course, like say hello and start the day. Then we're going to do some introductions. I already know that you have yesterday done some group, you know, roles and things like you've been actually doing a lot of work already on whatever. What were the things that you did yesterday? You did the Belvin's roles, the team contract, yes. So you have like already talked about, you know, building up a team and, you know, doing some exercise already on that as well. So my job here today is to actually, you know, talk about creativity and also to give you some methods of how to be creative in a group as well as how to be better in a group, like how to actually work in a group in a way that it's nice and, you know, you get into results, you know, with whatever you're doing. So we're going to do some introduction, we're going to build some more, you know, team spirit, and we're going to build some trust, and then meaning getting to know each other. And after that, I will be giving you a presentation of my work as an artist and a coach and a mentor, about 40 to 50 minutes or so. So that is like the longest time I'm going to be talking during these 3 hours. So I'm not going to be talking to you 3 hours, I'm going to give you like less than an hour presentation of my work. And the reason why I'm giving you that, first of all, is because my personal assistant Miikka asked me to do that. So who's the boss here, really? But the reason why he probably, I assume he asked me to do that is that I have done a huge art project, social impact projects around different topics, and you will get to know that. So I see that less than an hour of me giving a presentation is like as an inspirational talk to you about stuff that you can actually do in your life. You know, inspirational stuff, you know. So, and then of course after that, I would like you to discuss about whatever your learnings were or what inspired you or what were questionable to you. And then I would like you to also like ask questions from me and I will give you answers. Then we will have a really short coffee break around 11:30. So really short, really short, because we have a lot of stuff to do after the coffee break as well. So it's going to be 10 minutes coffee break. You will have just barely time to go and grab your coffee and, you know, go to the bathroom and maybe, you know, have a smoke or whatever, or, you know, fresh air outside, and then we will continue. And after the coffee break, I'm going to give you tools for creativity, but also give you a presentation of 5 dysfunctions of a team that is a very, very useful and valuable tool, or actually a process description of like how teams can be dysfunctional. But I'm also giving you some resolutions for or tools to how to overcome those dysfunctions. And then we will have several practical tools for ideation and team building. So you will be doing a lot of creative stuff. And then after that, about 15 minutes before we end, we're going to do some, gather up our learnings and our conclusions of the day, and make sure that, everybody has something to take from this to your studies, to your projects that, is going to be revealed today, I heard. So, maybe some of the stuff that you'll be learning today, you will be able to take to your project that you're going to start today. And then, of course, the workshop, I will ask you to evaluate the whole workshop also. So you can give me a grade, from 1 to 5, like how was this? And workshop ends at 1 o'clock sharp. Is there somebody who can't be present the whole time of this workshop, that has to go somewhere or can't stay here, has to go before 1? No, everybody can stay here. That's wonderful, great. Wonderful, great. Okay, do you have any questions about the program? You understood everything? Okay, nice. So next time I ask you something, you can say yes. Is this okay? Yes. Yes, thank you. Nice. So the objectives for this workshop is to get to know each other more. And the reason why that is one of those objectives is because I'm going to be talking to you about group dynamics and group creativity. So that is like the single most important cornerstone of actually building a team, is to get to know each other. You can't really work together very productively if you don't know who you're working with. So, and the other objective of the workshop is to learn practical tools for ideation and creativity. Super practical. So I won't be talking too much about theories. I will be giving you the the really basic theories about team process and the 5 dysfunctions of the team. But mostly you will get to try out things and to understand the challenges of teamwork and how to overcome them. And to have fun. That's also one of I think that's usually, when I give a workshop, that is the main objective, to have fun. And why? Because, when people are having fun, they also learn. When you're having a, shitty time, you're not motivated at all, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna check my emails right now, nobody's learning anything. So when people are having fun, they learn more, they're more motivated, and they actually get something out of the workshop. So that's why it's one of the objectives. So now, I will put you to work. This is where it starts. So if you can see, there is paper and markers. I have put some around the room. Here's some in here, there is some in there, there's some in there, there's also some in there. When I give you a permission, please put them back. Thank you. This is part of the method, So, when I give you a permission, you can go and grab yourself 10 pieces of paper and a marker. And your duty is to draw at least 10 portraits of your co-students in 10 minutes. And this is now a challenge, because I know some people might be thinking here, oh my God, I don't know how to draw. You don't have to. It's fine. This is not a competition. This is not you're going to create some sort of masterpieces here. No, this is to get to know each other part. So don't worry about it. So you will get 10 papers, 1 marker, and you will go out there. You won't be sitting here. You will go out there where you have space. You'll be standing. You won't be sitting. You will be standing with your papers like this. And drawing the person in front of you, and choose a pair, can you stand up for a second? We would be there, we're mingling in a cocktail party, say, hello, hey, I'm Katriina. Hey, nice to meet you. And then, you know, you have paper, I have paper, and then we draw each other real quickly. Real quickly, like, because, you know, if the challenge is that you have 10 minutes time, only 10 minutes, meaning that you can't be there like getting all the details, like, yeah, just let me, you know, your hair is going like this, yes. So you can't really do that. Try to capture the most, like, thing that catches your eye first. I might say, like, if I would draw a picture of myself, for example, if I would be drawing a person who looks like me, I would be pretty much doing something like this. I would be looking at this person, and then I was like, okay, there is this kind of like a shape in her face, which is her hair. Oh, nice, okay, and then there's this square chin and little nose, and like eyes like this. And that's it. And a big smile. Okay, so really fast. Really fast. You see, I'm an artist, right? Yes. So, and you also have to ask the other person after you're drawn, what are you passionate about, or what do you absolutely love? My answer would be dancing. That's what I'm passionate about, and also I love a lot. And then write down the name of the person that you also drew, so that you will also learn your names. Is this clear what you're going to do next? Yes? Okay, and I will be shouting here. I know that, you know, there's going to be a huge, like, like noise, voice, you know. Then I will be shouting to you, like, okay, you have 5 minutes time still. Then you know, like, oh gosh, I still need to draw like 5 or 4 or even 6. And say hello, and what's your name, and, you know, what are you passionate about, draw. And then keep all those drawings to yourself. You will get to, you know, share them later. Okay? Okay, so now you have 10 minutes time. Take 10 papers, 1 marker, go there and start drawing. And go to the person who you know the least first. And people in Copenhagen, you can do the same thing. If you have markers and you have papers, please do that. Okay, so now, go there, go there, go there, find space. Go there, go, go, go.
No more paper here.
Okay, no more paper, here, here. Here. Just take some.
Thanks.
Find space from the back. Go, take the space from there so you will have more space. Ten minutes. Find space from the back. Go there.
What are you loving? So it has to be the number answer. It's like 10 seconds strong.
Yes, good, great.
So you olet passionate about? Ihana.
Sinne vaan tonne perälle. Hi. Hello. Yeah, it's all right. Come grab 10 pieces of paper and a marker and go and draw 10 portraits. Yes, in 10 minutes. Actually, you have 9. So, yes, yes. There is seats, I think, in the back, the last row in there. There is seats in there. So, hey, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, so your job is to draw 10 portraits and also ask, write down the name of the person that you're drawing and also ask him or her, what are you passionate about or what do you absolutely love? And write that also there.
So they ask them what do they love?
Yes, and then write it, yes, the name, yes.
I'll just get this.
Yes, paper. There's paper in there and also markers.
Metro's the wrong way.
It's alright.
I'm still new in Helsinki.
Yeah, don't worry about it. No problem. 8 minutes! 8 minutes!
I didn't realize we have to write that.
Mikä?
Tämä on hauskaa.
Joo, hyvä. Kuuleeko noi tuolla köpiksessä mua koko ajan?
Joo, se on tosi hyvä se audio.
Okei, mutta kuuleeko se niinku tälläkin, kun mä puhun tässä nyt, niin ne kuulee senkin kaiken?
Joo.
Okei.
Jos sä haluat laittaa sen.
Joo, ei se ole. Tiedän vaan, että jupiset täällä itekseni.
Halo.
7 minutes! 7 minutes!
All right, we have 2 audio sources. What about now?
Hello. Hey. Yes, paper and markers in the front on the floor, and your job is to draw like portraits of at least you have now like 6 minutes time. So try to draw like 7 or 6 portraits of anybody, and please go to the people who you know the least. So hi, hello. So hey.
Yeah, just late.
Yes, it's all right. So draw 6 or 7 portraits. You have about 6 minutes now to finish the thing, and then ask also the name and write it down. And also the question is that after how you draw, like what are you passionate about or what do you absolutely love?
So we need to write down the
Yes, yes, and keep the drawings to yourself. Five minutes. 5 minutes. 3 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 minutes. 3. 3. 3.
How many minutes is it?
3.
Yeah, can I get more paper?
In front.
Right, hitting.
Pystytkö sä kuvaan tuolta yhtään tuota häslinkiä? Ja hässäkkä. Ei. Moi. Katriina. Moi, hauska tavata. Moi. Oh.
Juska on episodi 11 kaudella 1. Eli siis meillä on niitä videoepisodeja.
Okei. Jes, hyvä. Hauska tavata. Yes.
Me vetää hillittömät työpaikat.
What's your name?
Last minute. 1 minute. Last minute. Find your last pair. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Last minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.
How many?
1.
Oh, okay. So you're passionate about dancing?
Yes.
Yes.
Totally. And what are you passionate about?
About art. I'm actually an artist myself.
Okay, nice. Good. Nice to meet a fellow artist.
Yeah. So that's you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, woo.
Yeah.
Rabbit. Really?
Rabbit?
Sorry. Thank you, everybody. You did a great job. You can come back to your places. Come back to your places. Come back to your places. Okay, it's over. It's over. Come back to your seats. Come back to your seats, please. It's over. I know it's great. You don't want to stop, but you have to.
Just put rabbits. Rabbits? Oh, awesome. Yeah. Just put that I love. Like some help?
Yes, thank you. Thanks. Now what I want you to do is to applaud yourself for actually drawing. How many did you actually have, like, was able to do 10? Is there anybody who did 10? Yes, some of you. Wow, thank you, great. But you know, if you did more than 5, it's perfect, it's fine. This was not a competition. It was a challenge. It was a challenge, that's what it was. So I want you to applaud yourselves for doing a great job. Yes. And I don't accept this type of applause. You know, it has to be bigger and better. So let's give us a big applause. Yes. You know, hold on to those drawings of yours. Don't throw them away. You know, we will get to work them a little bit further more. Like, not actually work. You're going to be sharing them to you know, the people who you drew. Now it's time for me introducing myself. You have done a lot of introductions now. Like, you know, do you remember any of those people who you drew? Was there any new faces that you didn't actually talk to you yesterday? Yeah. Okay, good, great, perfect. So now it's my job to give an introduction to myself. Who am I? And I'm going to be doing it by showcasing my work. Of course, I also have a private life, like for sure. But that's not successful as my professional life. So that's why I'm concentrating on my professional one. But I want to give you like say one thing before I go to the projects that I've been working on for the past 10 years, is that I will be showcasing like this beautiful narrative of my professional life, how everything went smooth and nice, and you know, a lot of successes and all that. It's BS. It's just a story. It's a story that I created. Of course, it's true, but it's still like the linearity of that story. You know, it's an illusion. You know, it's an illusion that I'm creating now here. You know, through my with my work, I go step by step, and then I did this, and then I did that, and then I did this. It was not that simple at all. It took a lot of work, and it was a lot of struggle, and you know, all kinds of stuff happened, and it was not that, you know, okay, I had a mission, and then I just walked forward and found my way to you know, being a successful artist. No, not at all. So I want you to remember this, that linearity is an illusion, and I want you to tell this because, you know, sometimes when I mentor, I'm also a mentor, so I mentor a lot of young students, you know, who want to be, you know, professionals, especially in arts, and they have this idea of, you know, like, I will just create a, you know, a vision and a mission, and then, you know, I you know, create a strategy, and then, you know, I will be there. It might that you will end up in what you want, but it might also end up that you'll be doing something totally different because, you know, something much more cooler came in. So, you know, there's a lot of just, you know, coincidence in life, like what happens, and I feel like my duty as a kind of like an adult, I think, maybe something like that. My duty is to remind you as, you know, young people that, you know, don't take too much pressure of, you know, getting into, you know, exactly what you feel like you want to do now, and then, you know, you find yourself doing something else in 5 years and being disappointed about yourselves. Don't do that, okay? Okay, I'm just challenging you. Don't be disappointed in yourselves. Whatever happens, it's okay. Okay. This is like a little pep talk from a mother of two teenage boys who are struggling with their lives as well. So everything started around 2008 with a project called the Poop Delight. And I was thinking about, like, well, should I show this to you? But then I was like, yeah, I think that I should. Maybe I will just, you know, throw you into the deep end straight away. I was a youngish student, mother of two. My kids were already, like, I think 4 and 2 or something like that. And I had this problem that my kids here, the people who are Finnish, you know this, but, you know, people who are not from Finland, I need to tell you this, that in the springtime when the snow melts, there's so much dog shit everywhere. Like, it's crazy. You know, wherever you go, there's like piles of dog shit because the dog owners don't curb their dogs. So then, you know, when you have two tiny little boys and, you know, they're running around the street, there's always dog shit in their shoes. So I found that problematic. I was like, why is this like this? I really don't want to, you know, go into my house with my kids and there's dog shit smelling in the house, in my apartment. And I was thinking, as an artist, like, how could I actually, like, try to make a thing about this? How could I solve the problem, or how could I, like, make a statement about the issue without not writing to the newspapers, you know? Like, write a column there and say, like, hey, you know, I really don't appreciate people not curbing their dogs, and, you know, that's what people do a lot. They actually write to the papers, and there is public conversation. Every spring there is this, like, why people don't curb their dogs. And I was thinking, okay, I want to do this like statement in another way, in an artistic way. So what I chose to do is that I walked around the city and decorated the dog shit. I took, you know, I make them into look like these small, you know, desserts and pies, and had cherry on the top, and, you know, whipped cream and things like this. And it ended up to be, you know, a thing. You know, people were like, wow, you know, somebody's actually making those little desserts out of the dog shit. And it actually raised the conversation around the problem of the dog poo. And, you know, it ended up in the newspaper and everything, you know, somebody saw it and things like that. But it actually opened up to me the idea of like how you can have an impact, how it's possible to have an impact on the society or the things that, you know, are problematic. Okay, you might think that this is minor, but, you know, to a mother of two, it wasn't. It really was a problem. But the whole, you know, the door that it opened to, you know, working as an artist in general, like how you can actually create impact with visuality and, you know, with like, you know, creating a message that speaks out to, speaks out differently about the issues that we deal with. So that's where it started from. Then in around 2009, I was dealing with like a massive, what's that, like economical crisis. Economical crisis, just that it is. I had absolutely no money at all. And I was thinking that Christmas is coming. People are like really spending their money on gifts. And I was thinking like, how could I actually like now have an opportunity to make some money before Christmas, now that everybody's putting their money on presents. And as you probably already noticed from my email address that I'm a big feminist. So I was also like, in the same time, I was really like bothered by the idea of Brazilian waxing. And 2009, that was a new thing in Finland. And I was like, why is this? Like, why is it so that, you know, women are not supposed to have hair down there? Like, it should be there. That's why it's gross there in the first place. And I was really bothered by that whole idea of like, you know, the beauty ideals and everything that had to do with, you know, how we as women are supposed to look like. And then from that, you know, the economic crisis and, you know, being annoyed with the Brazilian waxing parlors, I was like, wow, this is actually a great idea. I'm going to start printing hair in underpants. And I started to sell these underpants. I was actually like screen printing them all by myself in a little studio of mine, you know, bought some ready knickers and, you know, just printed it with the screen printer or with the screen printing technique and, and sold them in different design markets and everything, these type of little markets, and made quite a good amount of money. And I realized that I have actually struck a nerve, that there was so many women and also men walking to me, you know, while I'm there standing, you know, selling these hairy underwear. You know, of course, people would laugh and, you know, some people were totally grossed out and, you know, but people would come to me and start talking about, wow, this is a great idea. You know, my wife, who is already 70, doesn't have any hair down there anymore, and I just love the hair. So I'm going to buy this for my wife. You know, so I heard so many stories of, you know, about people's private parts that I was amazed. And then what happened is that in around 2010, one guy, this Sam Dunn actually, like used to be a reporter for a online magazine called Core 77. I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't know if it's even on anymore. But anyway, it was like an art design publication online. And he saw me in one of those design markets, like selling my hairy underwear. At that time, I already had the hairy underpants, but I also had the hairy T-shirt and the hairy leggings, you know, having the, you know, hair in the legs, and an underarm hair T-shirt as well. And he was like fascinated about the whole idea, and he was like, I want to write an article about you and, you know, about your work into our publication. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then he published it. I took some pictures. Here you can see. This is from my studio, you know, my little artisty office bathroom. You know, it's me wearing the hairy T-shirts, hairy underwear, and the hairy leggings, and took some photos for him so that he could publish it. And a week after he published it, you know, a week after that he published it, and the day after that I went to my office one morning, and my email was full of requests. Where can I buy this underwear? I'm like, what? The thing that had happened is that actually like an American blogger, a fashion blogger called Coco Perez, Paris Hilton or something like this. I didn't even know that this type of person existed. I didn't even, probably at that time, I didn't even know that what a blog is. So I was like, what happened? And I found out that he had linked, you know, the hairy underwear into his website, in his blog. And from that, I suddenly had a market, you know, from New Zealand to Canada and everything there in between. And I was like, wow, okay, now I have a market, but I don't have any products. So what to do? And now I'm going to tell you what my attitude was. It's the same attitude I was trying to tell you, that, you know, you have a plan, but then, you know, something much more cooler comes in, and, you know, you just take the opportunity. So what happens is I decided to, okay, now there is like 1,000 people around the world who wants to buy hairy underwear. So I could just say, no, I'm not going to do this. Like, I have so much more important things to do, or I can just write a tide and say like, yes, I'm going to build a, you know, a production line in Finland, and I'm going to, you know, put an online store. And I was like, I answered to all of those emails like, yes, you can order them in from my online store in 2 weeks. I will send you the link when it's ready. And then in 2 weeks, I established a company. I established an online shop. I didn't even have a website at that time, so I just had the email address. So then I, you know, made a website, and, you know, I took a loan to have a production in Finland and all this. But this is 10 years ago. And the hairy underwear online store was up and running almost 10 years, but now I closed it 2 years ago. Now I wanted to start to do something else. So, and the reason why I chose these two pictures here is that then, of course, like after the Paris Hilton thingy, like international media got really like interested about the whole concept, and I was, you know, featured in all kinds of medias from Malaysian men's health, you know, you know, Malaysian men's health. So I've been a Malaysian men's health model now, you know. So that's who you're talking to, and two feminist publications. This is from Belgium. Very feminist publication. So everything in between, from Malaysian men's health to feminist publications, hairy underwear was featured. And then from there, I started to work more with the, you know, the beauty ideals, and how oppressing the norms can be for, especially for women, like how you're supposed to look like, and what is considered to be beautiful and what is not. And this is from one installation that I created. I made all kinds of unique clothing out of the imperfections, quote unquote, about how, you know, we as women, for example, we think that, you know, fat is seen something that is like imperfect, when it's just perfect. That's the way that it is. And I wanted to carnivalize that whole idea and make them into something beautiful, something that looks nice. And also this idea of saggy tits, you know. And at that point, I was a mother. I had been breastfeeding and all that. And so maybe this is too much information to you, but I see you're like, oh my God, where is this going? But anyway, so then I created this whole idea around the hate couture. So this became hate couture, which comes from the word of haute couture, which is French and means like unique designer clothes. And then I've been working with all kinds of like socially aware, social community art projects. And this is, I'm not going to go through like all of them in very much in detail, but this is, for example, one of the projects where I've been like photographing people around the world, in Helsinki, in Tokyo, in New York, and in Berlin, about their dressing styles and how they identify themselves with their styles of dressing, and then created all kinds of crazy visuals around that. But then 2014, I was contacted by this Norwegian lady, because she already knew like what kind of artwork I've been doing, because she's originally from Finland and she's really active in the art scene of Finland. And she sent me an email and said like, you know, I have a problem that I can't find any suitable bathing suits from stores. And I was very interesting, like, why is it so that a person can't really find a suitable bathing suit? And she's like, I can't find any suitable bathing suits because I have gone through breast cancer and mastectomy. And that's the reason why I can't find any suitable bathing suits, because all of the bathing suits that I can find from stores has 2 cups in them, you know, for 2 breasts. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. This really shows the, you know, the body norm that we have, like how you are supposed to be. And then I started to dig into the numbers of like how many women there actually are who have gone through breast cancer and mastectomy. There's millions of women out there, millions. It's not just like few, because every 8th woman actually, you know, gets breast cancer, every 8th. So it's quite a lot. It's a big number, like globally. And still, that's something that, you know, designers hasn't really tackled with, like how can we actually design bathing suits or underwear for women who are single-breasted. And what I also found out is, for example, in Finland, it's only half of, actually it's 40% of the women who go through mastectomy go to the reconstruction operation. So 60% of the women who go through mastectomy stay single-breasted or no breasts at all. So this was really interesting to me, because I was like, I had been already working with all kinds of like groups of people and women, and you know, it's like social injustice and things like, you know, that I found very problematic, you know, oppressing norms. And as like this particular problem opens the window very, very, very well to the idea of how we are supposed to be as human beings. And I started to develop a big project around this, and then how it ended up is that I actually designed with 10 Finnish fashion designers bathing suits for single-breasted women. And in the end, we had 10 different unique bathing suits and 10 women who were modeling for us. And the way that the whole project went down was that, you know, we also, of course, like curated the designers, and then I asked to, like, I was thinking like, okay, now I need some women to model for this, you know, that we can't, you know, show the bathing suit like that. We also need some, you know, women wearing them. And that was something I was like, you know, this might be a challenge, because it's a huge taboo to actually reveal that, you know, you're single-breasted, and you know, because we don't see women in the public pools, or we don't see women in the beach, you know, it's just walking around with their one breast like that. So then I posted one of the pictures, that the first ones that we took, I posted in social media, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to put it out there and say like, hey, you know, I'm doing this project, and you know, if somebody wants to join and be a model for me, it would be great. And what happens is that my email was full of requests again, you know, dozens and dozens of women say like, I really want to be part of this. And so what I did is I just chose the 10 first ones. I didn't do any curating, like you need to be a certain age, you need to be certain looks, you need to be certain size, you need to be certain skin color, like none of those. I just took the first 10 ones who sent the email first. And then I spent one day with each of the models in the studio. And what I found out from there was that before I went to the studio with these women, I was thinking that I'm making a statement. I'm making a project where I'm stating that, you know, no matter how many breasts you have, whether you have it in your forehead or in your shoulder, or if it's here, you're fine. It's okay. Like, you're fine like the way that you are. And what I found out working with these ladies, that this was also like super empowering experience for them. Because what happened is that when you reveal something, you know, to audience that you used to hide, it can be very, very empowering. And if you think about yourselves, like if I would ask any of you, a man or woman, I would ask like, hey, you want to come and, you know, be a bikini model or you know, a Speedo model? Like, how terrifying that would be. It was like stepping in front of a camera and, you know, be half naked there. It's huge. And then especially when, you know, you feel like your body is not the way that it should be, or you have lost something that was precious to you. And the best feedback that I got was actually from her. Like, she had, it was 3 months from the operation, and she had lost her hair because of the radiation and chemotherapy. And she came there wearing a wig and really beautiful blonde hair, because she used to have that. And I said like, hey, you know, why don't we just try without a wig? You know, you can wear it, but let's take few pictures without it, so maybe, you know, you can see like how it looks like. And then she saw the picture, and she was like, when she left from the studio, she took the wig from the table, put it on her bag, and said like, I don't need this anymore, and walked out of the studio, you know, wearing her, you know, short hair and looking amazing. So then what happened, that 2014 I had my first exhibition here in the Finnish, what's that, Finnish, Valokuvataiteen in Finnish, the Finnish Museum of Photography. And I don't know who and why, but somebody put, you know, those from my website, put the 10 pictures of those 10 empowered great ladies into Reddit and into Imgur, and it started to trend. And what happened after that is like for 1 year I was featured in all of the continents, like media in all of the continents of the world, from Huffington Post to Al Jazeera to Indian Times to whatever, like a lot. I got a lot of media attention, and I found out that okay, I have once again like struck a nerve, that this is certainly a taboo. That's what it is, and that's why it was so interesting to a lot of people. But it's also spoke to not only to women but also to men. I got a lot of feedback from men as well, saying that, hey, you know, I wish you had done this project when my mom was, you know, going through this and I was a little boy, and she would never go to the pools with me. She would never go to the beach with me because she was so ashamed of her body. So what this whole project was actually like, the nerve that it struck was the struck of us, everybody feeling like not enough, not feeling like, you know, there is something in us that is not okay. And then after that, I started to think like, okay, how can I take this further? Like, how can I take this whole idea and the whole concept and the whole, you know, message further? And I decided to arrange a charity catwalk show here in Helsinki in 2015. And I did that with private funding, so I did this the whole thing with you know, sponsorships from like 25 international and domestic companies. And what I decided to have that, okay, well, if we're wearing swimwear, naturally we have to be in a swimming pool, and there is like this beautiful old swimming pool. If somebody hasn't visited yet, it's in Yrjönkatu. Please go, it's really beautiful, and I decided to arrange it there. And we had live music. This is a band of Astrid Swan, a Finnish singer-songwriter, and her band and her choir. And we had the catwalk under the water, so that, you know, the models would be like kind of like walking on the water. And then we also had, as you see, we had like synchronized swimmers, and then there was like audience of 700 people. And the whole thing was so that, you know, it was totally free to participate. This is something that is like crucial to my art. It's like my idea of art is always so that I want to, you know, speak to audiences who are not usually so interested about art, you know, who doesn't normally go to museums or galleries, and I want it to be achievable to everybody. So like, no matter what your socio-economical background is, it has to be achievable. It has to be something that you can actually go and experience. So it was free to come in. There was no tickets. I just, you know, put in our event like, okay, come, first serve. So there was like 2 hours before the event, there was like a you know, a queue around the block of Forum, the shopping mall there, just people queuing in. And it was a huge success also, like in charity wise. I of course, like, then I asked to, you know, I shared the link with everybody to also like donate money to the what's the Syöpäsäätiö, Cancer Foundation of Finland. And we raised a lot of funds for cancer research as well with the whole event. And here is some pictures, more pictures of that. And I have like, even like last weekend I got some feedback still. This was 2015, I saw somebody and he was like, yeah, I was there. It was like the greatest thing that I have ever participated. It was like so touching, you know, see these, you know, empowered women who totally own themselves, you know, walking in the catwalk, and, you know, this is who I am, and this is how yeah, so, yeah. So that's what it was. You want to see a video of that event? Yes. So I'm going to show, let's hope that there will be some sound. I didn't try that yet, but let's hope so. Okay, you think so? Okay. No, it's not. It's not gonna be fine.
Can you kind of turn it down? It might.
No, I can't.
Yeah, everyone's ears are gonna bleed then. It might be from here. I see.
Hi, cool cat. My last name is Haikala, which is a shark in Finnish. So that's why I thought I'd have it there.
Tässä hetkinen, Chromessa.
Yes.
April unveils me. April buries the seed. April is full of hope. Yeah, I don't get to leave out to it. I'm drafting. By myself and rewriting. That's unstable. It's not me, it's my perception. I always said break my heart. That was just talking. Escape out, escape out.
So let's go back to the presentation. Yes. And how do I get this full screen? Here. Here? Yes, great. So yeah, that was the project of Monokini 2.0. And now I'm gonna continue with something that might be a little bit touching. So now something more light. We have poop again. So in case you got very emotional, I'm gonna take down to the real stuff again. So this is one of the works from 2016 where I was created to be in part of this exhibition that actually had a very political point of view to our governmental system. And we were 11 artists were asked to do what's that? Vaihtoehtoinen. What is that in English? Alternative campaign posters for election of the Parliament House elections. And the posters were supposed to comment on, because this was a year after our last Parliament election. So the posters were supposed to comment on how the last year with the new government has been. So here was my interpretation how the last year had been with the new government, and we had a very right-wing government who cut a lot of money from budgets from the universities and the public education and everything. So the art piece is called Poop Delight Again, but also congratulations Finland, it's the right-wing wind that is blowing. So it was a 1-year birthday cake for our government doing a great job on our education and social security. And then this year I did a project called the Unboxing Humans, and to be honest, I have done a shitload of other stuff as well. So these are just hand-picked projects. So there is a lot of performances and exhibitions that I have been arranging around the world. But so this year I made this project called Unboxing Humans that was actually commissioned by the physically disabled people of Finland and a Finnish Association of Physically Disabled People. Yes, that's the correct name. And they have their 80th year anniversary this year, and they wanted to somehow make the physical disabilities more visible in our society, and also tackle with the issues that these people face every day. in another way, so that they could communicate, you know, the issues of people who have physical disabilities in another way, like bring another angle to that. And when I got this commission, I was like, okay, this is going to be really difficult, because I don't want to be like, you know, making these people more victim that they already are. Like how I could actually like show to the world that, you know, the issues that people who have physical disabilities, the issues that they have, most of us have the same issues. Like we can actually relate to most of the issues that they have, and it all comes down to how we are seen by like physical attributes. Maybe, you know, the way that you look, you know, usually we define a lot of people just based on how they look, you know, how they look, and especially if you have a physical disability, you're going to be seen in a usually not in a very positive light, usually more negative. And I've been talking to a lot of people who have physical disabilities. For example, they use the wheelchair or the motorized wheelchair, or they have like hand sticks, or whatever is the you know, the equipment that they're using. And they said like, mostly I am seen as a dummy. I'm seen as a dumb person because my leg doesn't work. People think that my head doesn't work. And I was like really shocked about this, the whole idea of like that this is how it is. Like people actually like just by a physical attribute, a visible attribute, you're putting into a category of like not being able to do stuff or to think stuff, even though you are. And so then I took it to another level, like actually like thinking about this, like what about gender? What about, you know, the color of your skin? What about, you know, your ethnicity? Like how you're actually seen through your ethnicity is also like, it's a big issue. So you want to see a video? Yes. Okay. So then it ended up to be a 5 minutes video art piece about unboxing humans. Oh yes, and I got the idea actually like unboxing humans because I have the teenage kids at home. So my boys are 14 and 17. And you know, at that time, my 14-year-old kid was watching the unboxing videos all the time from YouTube. You know the unboxing, the video? Yes, yes. So yeah, so he was like constantly watching something to be unboxed. And I was like, this is interesting. Like, what is this phenomenon of unboxing in general? Like, why do you watch the videos? And then it became to me like, okay, how would it be actually if you have a human being in a box, you know, and you kind of like unbox the person, like, you know, take him or her out of the box that she is or he is put to, and, you know, like kind of like liberate and free them. So that's where it started from. Let's see how the sound system works now.
Mulla oli viimeinen lähetti sellaisen tekstiviestin sairaalaan, että sulla ei varmaan ikävä edes lapsiasi. Voi sitä ikävän määrää. Me elettiin kuitenkin sellaisia aikaa, että ne ensin lähtee tästä maailmasta.
Laatikko symboloi mulle niitä rajoitteita ja oletuksia, mitä yhteiskunta mulle niin asettaa ja millainen mun pitäisi olla ja miten mun pitäisi käyttäytyä liikuntarajoitteisena ihmisenä. Jos ympäristö on tehty niin kaikille sopivaksi, niin silloin mulla ei ole mitään ongelmaa liikkua.
Mä rakastan semmoista sosiaalisten tilanteiden tulvaa, mutta on sitten niitä päiviä esimerkiksi kun aamulla lähtee ja sitten vaan haluat olla poissa ihmisten katseelta. Mulla on oikeassakin elämässä yksi sellainen paikka, mihin mä meen. Oli mulla sitten hyvä tai huono päivä. Ja se paikka on tosi julkinen, että se on kaikkien saatavilla ja tavoitettavissa, mutta harva tietää, että esimerkiksi kaikki runot, joita mä oon kirjoittanut, niin ne on syntynyt siellä paikassa pääosassa.
Minun vammani kanssa tuli sinuksi oikeastaan sinä aikana, kun olin sairaalajakson jälkeen Kaskisaarien amputoitujen kuntoutuslaitoksella. Jokainen heistä oli jo siinä elämänsä vaiheessa, että olivat sinut sen vammansa kanssa. Silloin se aukesi minullekin, että miksei kaikilla, siis ihan kaikilla, ei pelkästään vammaisilla, on jokin este.
Laatikko olen minä itse. Se on ehkä sen takia, että niin kuin laatikossa niin mäkin olen semmoinen monisivuinen, monitahoinen laatikkoa voisi vaikka vahvistaa, koska siinä samalla sitten vahvistetaan minua. Ne kaikki eri puolet, mitä minusta näkyy, niin ne on ihan yhtä lailla osa minua ja se olen minä.
Haluaisin, että olisi tasavertainen muiden ns. Normien ihmisten kanssa, tai no mikä on sitten se yhteiskunnan normi. Haluaisin laittaa yhteiskunnan laatikkoon ja ajaa yli monta kertaa.
Ja ehkä mä ajattelen, että se mitä mä tietoisesti myös esitän omaa sukupuolta, niin myös rajoittaa mua. Vaikka mä itse tykkään niistä siitä, miltä mä näytän ja mitä mä oon, niin musta tuntuu, että mua ei aina oteta sen takia tosissaan.
Esimerkiksi kulttuuristani johtuen, jossa vammainen nainen on kuin pilautunut hedelmä. Kun olen kohdannut ennakkoluuloja, minusta on tuntunut tosi pahalta ja se yleensä tekee mut tosi vihaiseksi.
Every day I have to fight against oppression of some sort, whether or not it's systemic oppression or it's the oppression wrought by my own self-limiting beliefs. So it's symbolic of the battle I have to wage every day.
We tend to judge others without getting to know them. We put them in a box of handicapped, or we put them in a box of different than us. We don't need boxes. I don't want anything to do with boxes.
Okay, and that project was it's actually like the touring exhibition is starting now next month in other cities. This was in Helsinki this spring, but it's going to go to other cities in Finland this autumn. But also Finnair took this like part of their social corporate social responsibility project, and this was screened in all of Finnair's flight during the whole July, which was really, you know, to me it was like wow, like I got to reach a lot of audience for my message that I had, you know, in Finnair flights if they found it from their menu, you know, somewhere from there. But anyway, it was screened in there. And then my last project that I'm going to be talking to you about. So are you already really bored? No? Yes, thank you, great. So the last project that I'm going to be talking to you about is that a project that I started last year. It's called the Social Portrait. I'm drawing 1,000 portraits of individuals who identify themselves as women. And the whole idea is to actually elevate, you know, women in our society in general. The history of portrait drawing and painting is very male-centric. I don't hate men. Don't worry about it. I like you very much. I have 2 boys and I have a boyfriend and all that, so don't worry about it. So, but the history of portrait painting and drawing is very male-centric because, you know, portraits are historically always done of influential people, meaning that they have status, power and money. And historically, in Western culture, it has been men. So when you go to art museums and you look at portraits, of course there is also queens and princesses, but mostly about influential women, you know, guys with their horses and their, you know, their crowns and their you know, swords and, you know, whatever, you know, their dead animals around them, surrounded by them. So. So I wanted to actually, this started last year because Finland had its 100 years anniversary, and our national narratives are very male orientated. Like there is, you know, stories of war and, you know, soldiers, you know, fighting for Finland, but there also were women who did a lot of, you know, work in order to just have Finland, that we have independence and everything. And if I think about the regular life nowadays, it's not only men who keep up the society, it's also women. And that's why I wanted to, you know, that I'm going to draw portraits that elevates you as a woman, or actually somebody who identifies themselves as women. So like I started this in Amos Anderson Art Museum last autumn, and I continued in Turku Biennale, and now I was in London for 2 weeks in a residency there. I'm going to Tokyo next year as well, and to Brussels and so forth. And now I have approximately 350 portraits done, and my technique is so that I actually like sit like this with my model, and I don't look at the paper at all while I'm drawing. I don't look at all what I'm doing. I just, stare at the model. And this is something that I learned. I wasn't thinking that. It's just like in Monokini 2.0, there was some learning outcomes of just actually doing stuff. This also like taught me, like when I'm with the model, is that this whole situation is super intimate, not intimidating. But yeah, some people also intimidating, but very intimate in a way that we are not necessarily used to be looked at continuously for 10 minutes. And some people say that, nobody has ever looked at me like this before, because I'm actually like looking all the details, how many hair you have growing in your nose, and, and, wrinkles, and, your zits or whatever, like, because I look at you, I really just look at who you are, and then I draw what I see. And to some people, it's very intimidating, like I said, because it's very uncomfortable, being stared at, like, just like, oh my God, like, she sees my soul. So, the people feel like, I'm looking straight into them. I'm not, but that's how they feel. And then, and some people feel like, I felt like, you were caressing me because, I've never been looked at like this. I feel so important and elevated. And, so there's a lot of like all kinds of feedback that I've been getting from these women, and also some, gender fluid people who, don't necessarily are maybe born as men but don't identify as men anymore. So the portraits look like this. So, and I always draw like 2 portraits of each person, so that then, my model gets to choose the other one she likes more, and she gets to have that, and the other one stays with me. Do you want to see a video of this as well? Yeah. So this is more of like, you just seeing how the situation is. And there's no sound in this one. What? No? Let's go like this then. For some reason it took me there. Sorry. The link was not working like it was supposed to. Okay. And there's no sound in this. Yes, so. Okay. From there. Yes. Okay, so as you probably already noticed that as an artist, I'm not the type who sits in her own studio all by herself contemplating on the meaning of life. I more or less work with people all the time. Like no matter what kind of art I do, I always work with people. And that's why I'm here today, because I know that you will be working a lot with people in future. If you know, as an IDBM student, IDBM, yes. As an IDBM student, you will be working with a lot of people, like just to gather information from them, like how is their life, what type of context they live, like what kind of needs do they have. And that I've been doing as an artist for the entire 10 years that I've been doing and creating art. But also because I'm here to talk about group work. as you probably noticed, that I've been working with a lot of people, and I have had big teams, and I have worked with a colleague, and I've always like done stuff together with people, and that has made me an expert of group processes. And alongside with that, I'm also a professional facilitator, and I've been lecturing in Aalto University already for 10 years about, you know, group dynamics and stuff like that. So I'm also a professional pedagogue and a trainer and a coach and everything that so forth. But I'm not talking about you now about my career as a trainer. But now it's, you know, yeah, one thing that I want to say more is that I love this quote by Oscar Wilde. It says that an idea that is not dangerous is not worth of being called as an idea at all. And I think that that's something like, you know, that challenges you as well as students to actually really like, there is good ideas, then there is, okay, let's start, there's bad ideas, then there's mediocre ideas, then there is good ideas, and then there's like revolutionary ideas. And all of those ideas, they're ideas. But I challenge you as IDBM students to actually go to the revolutionary ones. So something that is dangerous, you can definitely say that, okay, this might be mind-blowing because it's dangerous. So, and this picture here has nothing to do with anything, I just like it. So, because I love people and I love love. And so next I'm going to put this on you now. Now it's your turn. We have 15 minutes before coffee break, and you know, I want you to individually now on your own papers for a couple of minutes write down answers to these questions. What do you remember of the presentation? This means that what was something that was most mind-blowing, questionable, you know, you didn't like, I loved, you know, things that you remember that really caught your eye and your attention. And what does those things that you remember, what does those matters, things, ideas, thoughts, mean to you as an IDBM student? Meaning, like, you know, if something that you remember, let's say you remember like the last quote by Oscar Wilde. What does that mean to you as an IDBM student of somebody who is going to be working with design and, you know, solving problems in future? So what does it mean to you? You understand the question? Yes, good. And the last one is make a list of questions that you want to ask from me. Things that, you know, still puzzles your mind. And now you have like, let's say 2.5 minutes or 3. Let's say 3. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to write down your thoughts and questions. One and a half minutes. Okay, last 30 seconds. Okay, are you starting to be ready? I know somebody is still writing, but I'm going to give you more instructions anyway. So next, you're going to get to choose the 4 persons more closest to you, and you're going to team up. Don't do that yet. I know you're anxious to do that, but don't do it yet. So form like groups of 3 or 4, and your duty is to actually just talk about those things, share your thoughts, and then after that, I'm going to give, you know, not more instructions, but you have like approximately 3 minutes to share. Just to share. You don't need to actually answer the questions that you listed. Don't start answering those because that's my duty. But now to share your thoughts that you wrote down. Okay? For 3 minutes, and try to find really quickly a group. Like don't like just quickly. Yes. Yes, group of 5 is also fine. It's just,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, probably there would be something. Right.
For me, the friend structure always if you already survive, why is it like why people lose like why men think that if you have scars, like order whatever, but I think the same thing should go.
last minute.
And
Last minute. Last minute. 1 minute more. Last minute. Hey, okay, I'm going to give you more instructions. Now your duty or your job as a group is to choose one question that you want to ask together from me, and then I will answer those. So, because you have a list of questions, so go through your questions and choose the most important that you know the whole group can, you know, agree with. That okay, this is a good question. This is what we want to ask for, and then I'm going to go through the questions real quickly. And then, you know, if you find out as a team that, you know, some group already, you know, asked the question that you were supposed to, then you need to quickly find another one. Okay? Okay, so now you have 1 minute time to choose the most important question that you want to ask.
okay. Well, if somebody asks, they don't have anything else. They also have like one
Raise your hands when you're ready. Raise your hands when you're ready. Okay, you're ready, you're ready, you're ready. Raise your hands when you're ready. You're ready? Are you ready? Yes, you're ready. You're ready? You're ready? You're ready? Are you ready? What about you guys there in back? Are you ready? Yes? Okay. Are you ready? Can I have this chair, please? Thank you. Yes, okay. And we have the personal assistant is going to, assist with the mic. So let's start the Q&A. Like, who wants to start?
Oh, who wants to start?
Yes, who wants to start? Okay, let's start from here. Okay.
Okay. So obviously we were very touched by your artwork and how moving it was for society. And we were wondering if you have any like negative feedback from society, because your work is I think for some people might be controversial. Mm-hmm. So if you have any negative feedback or responses, and how you cope with it.
Did you hear the question like about negative feedback? To be honest, I have had very little negative feedback. And it's crazy, because that's usually what I always think, that okay, this is going to be like so outraging and people are going to be calling me and sending some I'm gonna kill you messages. But no, I haven't had some, yeah, but very, very little, very few. And mostly they've been like if I think about with Monokini, for example, there was like this one criticism that was very, very, actually it was very relevant, was that I have only in the project I have only white women in there, and that's very true. And because my audience at that time was like Finnish, and I posted in Facebook, and then the 10 first one were Finnish. So that's like one criticism that I have had, but not very little negative feedback. Very little. But then yeah, I know about the cake, the poop delight, the poster, the election poster. That like Helsingin Sanomat, which is the biggest newspaper here in Helsinki, like did write that okay, and one art piece especially grossed me out, which was this. This was because it's actually, if somebody's going to ask like whether that was dog poo or human poo, it was human poo. So it was so like that type of thing, but not really like nothing worse than that. Thank you for the question. And next one, yes.
What drove you in the beginning to expose the spatial breast cancer and also the underwear hair, like?
Oh, you mean like what's my mission in general? Like what?
Yeah, like what drive you in the beginning, because you're really brave, and for some people it's a shame to expose something like that. Yeah,
well, what drives me in general is that I really like taboos. I really like them because they challenge me. Like I'm very sensitive to oppressive norms, and my whole career as an artist started from like me, of course, studying art in the University of Art and Design, Aalto University, and I was a young mother at that time, and I realized as a woman, when I became a mom, all of a sudden I was supposed to act in a very different way, and I wasn't really that much different. I just had 2 kids. But all of a sudden I should be less sexual, I should be like more nurturing, I should be all these like ideas that we have about motherhood. And of course I were those as well, but then I should, I was, people might say like, why you still dress so feminine, you're a mom. I'm like, what? Are you serious? So that type of what's that, like notions about, the society and the culture around you, drives me to actually like talk about those things, like what do I find as a taboo, and I feel like I've been faced with, and then then I start to talk about those. But where do I get my bravery? I don't know. Well, actually I do. There's very little shame in me in general, like as you have probably noticed. I could also talk about my 2 marriages and how they failed and all that, like easily. So there's very little of things that I am ashamed of, because I feel like shame in general is the worst feeling that a human being can carry around, because it really stops you doing the stuff that you feel like you should be doing. That's about it. Yes. Okay, next one. Was that satisfactory? The answer was okay. Good. Okay. Yes.
So yesterday we did our failure series, and we were wondering
take the mic so that the Copenhagen.
If you could share your failure with us.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I just shared it to you. I have had 2 marriages.
What about in a career? Are there something that would you like to share?
I think that the biggest failure that I have had is actually with Monokini 2.0. I would have wanted to take it even more further, but I wasn't able to. So that's something that I feel like I would probably, when I die, I'm still be regretting that I wasn't able to do that. And yeah, that's probably it. And I think that the failure CV is super good because it's part of the creating like an atmosphere of like failure is okay. Like you don't have to be perfect. Like none of us really are or is. So it's really, really good. Was this a failure enough? I wouldn't. Okay, good. Yes.
What was the hardest project you had?
The hardest project was actually something that I forgot to put here. I have done also this dystopia utopia project with kids who live in the foster homes. You know what is a foster home? I did that for several years, and I used to work with a group of 5 to 6 kids from age to 12 to 17, and I used to work with them so that I would take them to a ride to their future through the concepts of dystopia and utopia, and I make them to think about like what would be their dystopic future view and what would be their utopic future view. And then we would go to like certain places to actually take a photograph of them that depicts that, let's say like, one person wanted to be an artist in the future. So then, we would ask like, okay, what kind of place actually resembles or is a symbol of your future dream? And then we would go to that place, and she wanted to take that in a hippie community in Turku. And so we drive there and we go to this place. So I spent with these kids a lot of time, and it was it gave me a lot to work with kids who have had super challenging life. But also the hardest part about that was that because I'm such a cool person that most of them wanted to really like I actually got this request like, can you adopt me? And I'm like, I'm really sorry, I can't do that. It's impossible. And being personally very involved with these people that you work with can be very hard, because then it's always like, if you think about group processes that I will be talking later, it's like part of the group process is also like the mourning part, like when you actually mourn the end of when the project is over, because we will be working sometime together, but then we will apart, our roads will apart, and that's hard. And then Monokini also, in a way that I have actually been in 2 funerals also, like after starting this project, like some of the women did not really vibe, and so it's really, it can take a lot. So those have been the hardest things. Okay, yes. So next one.
Is there a particular moment or memory that you have where you decided to start dedicating your life to empowering people and women?
When I started to do that, like a special moment.
Is there a special moment that you were just like, okay, I need to start doing this?
Yeah, well, I think it was I'm not sure if there's like a specific moment, but I think that it was because I used to study art pedagogy. So I'm a pedagogue also from my other profession, like as you can see, like I'm a teacher and I am a mentor and I coach and train people. And before that, I used to study set design in the same school and do sets for film and TV and theater, and I found that to be nice. It was like nice work, but I was always questioning myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the purpose of this? Like, okay, now we have like a series of like TV something, entertainment, and I couldn't find like a meaning that would be deep enough for myself. I know that it means a lot to the consumers, but not like to me to actually do that work. And then I decided to apply to the art pedagogy department, and there I started to get like more in contact with the idea of like, what's the meaning of art for me, like why should I be doing art? And it came from the idea of pedagogy, because you know, educating people is actually like transforming them. That's what it is. Like, you know, when you teach people, you know, they come to your class or they come to your course or their workshop as they are, as like from in a stage A, you know, I would say like, okay, this is how they are. Then you give them some information and put them to do something. Then they transform into something else, you know, they learn something. So, and so I've been like applying that thought of pedagogy into my art as well. Like with my art, I always want to change how people think about things and then maybe, you know, also operate. So maybe that is like, it's not like one specific turning point, but more or less like something like that was revealed to me, like the idea of educating and then that you can actually educate also with your art. Maybe that. Thanks for the question, okay? And then, yes?
There's a question from Copenhagen.
Okay, okay.
Because it kind of connects nicely.
Yes, okay. And which one is it? Is it the last one?
Yeah, the one.
If breaking taboos is your goal or mission, what is your utopian vision? Do you have a mantra for bad days? My bad day mantra is fuck that shit. that's my mantra. Fuck that shit. Like, okay, it's shitty and that's how it is. And now we just need to move forward. What's my utopian? Well, my utopia, of course, is like all Miss Universes also is like world peace and, you know, people loving them each other more. But that's, I'm serious about it. I'm serious, and that's why, you know, this picture, I chosen it because I really like, if you know, my passion and I love dancing, but I also like, I really love people and, you know, being around people, and I would like to, you know, everybody else to also like other people and not to be so close-minded and, you know, hateful, resentful. So that's my utopia. People, world peace. Okay, yes, now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing us about the things that inspire us, a lot of things that we can do to make things meaningful. And I think for all of us, we are seeing like those disabled people or the people with something they lost or something. But for me, it's like I see those things, but sometimes I'm too cold to change something. So what's the thing that drives you to make some change about it? Because the world, there is a lot of things in the world that we need to change, but we need to choose something to change. So what's the standard or something that drives you?
Yes, this is a very good question. First of all, I was thinking about that. I would start this day by saying to you, like, change starts from you. Like, that's where it starts. Like, just like you said, like, sometimes you see problems, then you're like, nah, okay, that's not mine, really, my issue, not real. But every day we are faced with all kinds of situations where, you know, you can actually stand up and say, like, no, I don't agree with this. Like, every day we have plenty of those moments. Like, it might be that, you know, somebody next to you is treated badly, you know, you've been treated badly, you know, somebody's like, whatever, and you in each of those moments you have the possibility to stand up and say, I don't agree with this, and I want the world to be different. And that's one thing that I want to say to you. So the reason why I'm doing this in the first place is that I have realized that, you know, as a one single person, I have a lot of power, you know, if I just want to work on it. And the next thing is that, you know, you said, like, how do I choose? Like, I have always been, like, on the side of like, the oppressed. Like, I mean, like, if I see that there is somebody, a community or a group of people who are not seen in the way that they would like to be seen, or they're not treated in the way that they would like to be treated, I always, you know, I'm always on the side of the weak ones, you know. And that comes from, and this is going to be now from my communistic father, you know, who is already late and dead and gone. But I used to live in this atmosphere at my house where, you know, everything was super, my dad was like super critical about the society in general, like how you know, things could be also in a different way. And that's how I learned to like to challenge all the things that are kind of like given and taken as they are. Like, I'm not a communist, don't worry about it. But what I mean is that the idea of that there are like different systems that we can build. It's not like this is the only way to do stuff or things or processes. You know, there is plenty of other options too there. You just need to work on that. Thanks. And then, yes.
Yeah, hi. What motivates and drives you through the notion or the fear of imperfection in your project? So let's say what actually
makes you take that first step, even if you might be afraid that it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be the best piece of work or something like that. Do you understand?
I never thought about that. Don't even think about failure in the first place. I don't think about failure. I don't think that it's not in my headspace. Because the way that I take myself and I take other people around me is that everybody is imperfect. Like for sure there's going to be failures, and for sure it's not going to be perfect. And that's not even the point. Like maybe it's the idea of like I'm not like that. I'm doing this for this specific reason that I need to get there, and I have this diamond, a shiny diamond that I need to go into or to reach. Maybe it's more like I just want to do it because I find it meaningful, and like that I find there's a purpose for me in that. Maybe does this answer to you?
Yeah, so any answer is fine.
Okay, okay. Is there any other questions? Is there some groups? Yes, still, yes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, is there some common, like, intrinsic purpose to all your art, or is there, like, a definition of what defines art for you personally?
Well, I know that there's a lot of different ways of defining art, and I know that a lot of people, even in the art scene, like, there's so many different types of artists. Like some people, like to paint and, do decorative things, and somebody likes to photograph just, beautiful things. And that's just fine. That's like, all of that is like equally fine. But my idea of art to me is about societal change. Like that's my purpose, like that I drive for. That's where that's my fuel, kind of like, okay, I want to do something that is meaningful for me. And of course, like to some other artists, it's more like it's meaningful to just, picture beauty and, show that to somebody. But that's not my driver. Because my driver is the societal change. Yes.
Well, like you got a lot of attention with a lot of projects, but have you heard from like people who felt inspired or empowered by it, that like they started their own like business to tackle one of these issues maybe or something?
I have heard of Monokini project that, for example, in Denmark, there are some hospitals that are using, and also actually here in Finland, who are using, showing our pictures to women who have gone through a mastectomy. It's just showing like, you can be fine with the way that you are. And I know that, but not necessarily businesses, tech solutions, no. But yeah, I do know that a lot of people do get inspired by my work. That's for sure, I know. But I don't know how do they implement their inspiration into practice. I don't really know about that. A good question though, yes, thanks. Next one, yes.
Hi, so most of my questions were answered and covered, so I'm going to ask something slightly different. So you seem like you juggle multiple projects at a time, is that correct? So some projects can take up a few years, like the foster kids project. And while juggling multiple projects, do you ever feel stuck or in between, in the middle of the projects, or one project ends and you feel you've given like, you seem to be giving like 120% to your project, and when a project ends, do you feel the need to kind of take yourself away from it to stay a little active in the end, or do you have like this mechanism?
Yeah, well, I'm like I'm a multitasker in general. Like that's the way that I work. I always have like multiple things going on like in the same time. But to me, it's like when a project ends, it's like I really don't. Like I don't mourn that much when the project ends, but what I do know is like every time I publish the work, like the publication of your creations, like whatever, if I know some of you might be writing, drawing, making movies, whatever, even making a paper or an essay. It's like when you create something and then you need to publish it, to me it means like maybe having an exhibition. After the publication comes the the gap, or the valley of death. It's like that what happens every time. At that point when you publish, you start to question yourself, like, am I doing the right thing? What do they think of me? Is this total BS? You know, it comes every time, and I know it. I already know that, like when the opening night is, I'm yeah, great, everything is fun. Next day, I'm like in my bed, like, oh my God, this was a huge mistake. It happens every time, like that. The questioning of yourself after publication happens every time.
So
and
how do you come back to that, you know, like
nowadays it's so much more easier because I know that it comes. Like I know that, okay, this is it. This is it for a few days. I'm just, you know, going to be dwelling in my self-pity, being the worst person in the world. And then it will just go away, you know, because, you know, when you have your eyes open, there is so many possibilities all the time. It like surrounded by, you are surrounded by possibilities of, you know, grabbing into stuff and starting to do things. So I'm also very, very good in recovery. I'm a very resilient person. I just took a test, so I recover really easily from everything. So, thanks. And then there was one question. Yes, we need the mic so that the Copenhagen also hears. Here. Yes.
Thank you. Well, you said that you were doing multiple projects, and you know, and at the beginning of the session, you said that having fun and having happiness is a really good point, and it's the time that we can learn something. You know, I think this happiness will be something that satisfaction should be in both working life and in our personal life. Would you please tell me that how we could balance the work and family and...
Well, did you hear, like, work? Yes, we need to, yes, like, how do I balance work life and professional life? Because, you know, you referred to like that, to me having fun is super important, like in general. And I just posted in Facebook this, maybe Miikka saw it because Miikka is my friend. I posted this little quote, and I want to say this about like balancing personal and professional life is very hard. It's super difficult, especially when you do something that you love. And the quotation went something like this, just a moment. Which probably answers your question. Just a moment. Please be faster. Come on. Yes. Here. It's a little picture like this, and it says here that do what you love and you'll, and then there is like this, the quote that everybody knows. It would say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And now the never work a day in your life is like drawn over, and it says actually, do what you love and you'll work super fucking hard all the time with no separation or any boundaries, and also take everything extremely personally. So that's basically how my life is. So that's the answer. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, really, at all. So, with no separation or boundaries at all. Okay, was that the last question? Yes, okay, and then one from Copenhagen as well. This is the last one. Do your projects sometimes seem too small for you in the initial phase of thinking about it, if your main goal is societal change? Well, not really, because I think that we can have influence in each other, even like in, you know, in one-on-one sessions. You know, when I meet with people, I talk with people, I do, and you know, when you meet with people and talk with people, there's always a possibility of having change. You know, having influence on people. So I don't really like think about so much about like this has to be like this grandiose, you know, universal, everybody will get to know this type of project. I also think that's nice as well, and I think that of course like social impact comes also from like getting your ideas into the media, and media like drawing that, or you're drawn by media and media attention. But I also think that, you know, like if I think about the social portrait project, where I just actually sit with people like silently, and you know, and they're super influenced by that. So I'm happy that I have had like 350 women sitting next like in front of me, and just having that experience, and it's as valuable as having something grandiose. Yes. Well, okay. Last question. Yes.
I'd like to close up by giving the ball back to you. Is there something that you wish we had asked you? Something that would have made you feel like, oh, thank God someone asked that. I'd love to open up this one a little bit more.
No, not really. Thanks a lot. I think that all these questions were really, really good. And thanks for the question. It was really, really nice question. That was a good question there. Yes. So now we are a little bit late from our schedule, so let's have a really short break. I really challenge you to be here back in 10 minutes, because it's 10 to 12. So be back here sharp at 12, so we will continue from there. Okay, thank you. Hey, I want to have an applause. Thank you. So 12 sharp.